started. Let's do it.
Alright guys, so we're at the Gander Market quintessential meatpacking district spot. We got a lot of little pop-up restaurants, modern food, cuisine, some seriously talented chefs here. They really know how to cook, and if you're willing to pay for it, it's a really good food option. You should really consider it for sure.
See, the streets in the meatpacking district are very unique because they're made out of rocks. Actually, you're wrong. So this is called Belgian blocks. It's a common misconception. Everyone thinks it's cobblestone.
Alright man, so quintessential meatpacking district here. We have a black brick facade. Now this building, I'm pretty sure it used to be a factory. This used to be a manufacturing site where cigars were made, or one of those things, I don't really know, but the point of this is, this beautiful brick facade, black facade, is part of modern architecture that really characterizes the meatpacking district.
So as you can see, starting in the mid to late 90s, a lot of new architects started taking over and they started adding new designs like Intersect by Lexus, which we're about to take you guys through right now.
We're here in the Intersect by Lexus building, and unfortunately we were not allowed to film the inside of the building, so we're here in the bathroom. Let's take a look. This is a very modern bathroom in the midst of an area of extreme rustic characteristics. Let's come on in. Show us what you got, Elliot.
All right.
So just got a few quick facts for you about the meatpacking district. It is now New York's hot, new, energetic, lively food and design spot. On your left we have the meatpacking district. On your right we also have the meatpacking district. Behind us we have the meatpacking district, and in front of me we have the meatpacking district too. So anyway, just a couple quick facts. In the late 1800s, it was New York's farmer's market essentially. It had all of the city's produce pass through this area. It saw a lot of wholesalers for meat and butchers as well. That's why it's got its name as the meatpacking district. 250 butcher companies came to this district and set up shop, and well, now there's only 5. But back in the day, this was the hub for New York's agriculture scene. However, as time went on, it turned a little more industrial. We had factories. If you pan around to that building back there, you can see these giant windows. It's a short building, but there's giant windows, and those windows used to be factory windows. Clearly, it just used to be a factory. I mean, they just revamped it a little bit. So anyway, yeah, factories. They made cigars, paint thinner, all that terrible stuff. And then eventually, in 1960s, 70s, the area saw a bit of a decline, a bit of a depression. A lot of prostitution. The nightlife was pretty wild, but at the same time, it wasn't exactly the spot to be. But then in the late 90s, everything changed, and now it is where it is. The gentrification, modernization, the benefits that this community has seen have been really beautiful, and we're really happy to be here. So come on with us.
We're now going to start the Chelsea Market aspect of our tour, but before we get there, I'd just like to point out the construction that's going on here. This area of the city is always changing, and having all the construction equipment here really epitomizes how this district is taking the new and the old and bringing it together.
Look at this. This is disgusting. This construction everywhere is dirt, muck. Look what I'm stepping at. It's not even on the road. It's just got gravel, ugly.
It's another classic of New York. There's construction everywhere, literally everywhere in the city. Well, I didn't want to. Okay, we're good. Shakes. So my buddy last week showed me one of the coolest gems of Chelsea Market. If you're ever near Noel's Tacos, you gotta follow the sign. I'll take you guys with us. Quite a few corridors. And here we are.
So we're back here at Chelsea Market, and just to give a little more information about this unique location, in the past half century, Chelsea Market has undergone a radical transformation from a factory to a modern-day retail hub. From the late 19th century into the second half of the 20th century, the National Biscuit Company, or Nabisco, owned this building and operated a large factory within it, producing things such as Oreos and saltines. The market's pride in its past ensures that historical remnants from this period of history will not be lost and are easily accessible to the average visitor. Visitors can see memorabilia from the market's past all over the building, from the plaque that represents the merger of the two companies that created Nabisco, to the fountain that was built from leftover drill bits and an exposed pipe. The design and overall shape of the factory changed much throughout the beginning of the 20th century in order to accommodate for specific needs, such as the addition of the famous sky bridge across 10th Avenue that connected the market to an office space. Interestingly enough, one of the structures of this present-day Chelsea Market building was built on a landfill, which shows how different materials over the course of time have been recycled to benefit the modern-day people. Today, Chelsea Market is a paradise for food lovers looking for anything from tacos to sushis to milkshakes like these. The look and feel of the inside of the market is a balance between the rustic and industrial look of the past and a sleek modern look that individuals are looking for today. Overall, the market as a microcosm of the meatpacking district satisfies the needs of the people while reminding the community what made the area special in the first place. Oh, and by the way, this isn't just a milkshake, it's a boozy milkshake.
So right here we have the Starbucks Reserve of the Meatpacking District, also known as Bougie Starbucks. Think about a regular Starbucks where regular small coffee would be about like $2.50. Here it's about like $8. So it's just a pinnacle of economic development.
Yeah, so when we were here last week, I had a hot chocolate. It was $6.50. Okay. So now here we are, we're moving on to one of the most notable places in all of New York City, the High Line. So I just have a little bit of background information on the history of the High Line, since it is such an important part of New York City. Over the years, the High Line has become an architectural icon for the city of New York, demonstrating both its innovative brilliance and its creativity. In the early 1900s, the meatpacking industry was booming, specifically within the meatpacking district. This was a time in which frozen meats was of a high demand, meaning that there was a large quantity of meat flying in and out of the city, specifically on the train lines. So by 1910, there were over 540 deaths from the train lines that were running on street level, and 10th Ave was actually known as Death Avenue for a little bit of time, which is where the High Line comes in. And the High Line was engineered in direct response to the unsafety of New York residents through the process of elevating the train line. And in 1934, the first ever High Line car was successfully went through the tracks and distributed meat. This line was used to transport meat produce throughout New York City, with this line ranging from the meatpacking district's Gainsborough Street to 34th Street, which is quite a few blocks if you know the city. This lasted until the late 80s, when the amount of traffic on the High Line dwindled until it stopped altogether. Between the 80s and early 2000s, there was much talk about destroying the High Line altogether, since it no longer served a purpose within the city. Luckily, Friends of the High Lines was founded, which is a charity organization that was meant to actually preserve the High Line, and it has turned into the beautiful park that it is today.
All right, so to cap things off, I'm going to talk about the meatpacking district today. So arguably the district is at its peak today because it's reaping the benefits of its existing infrastructure from its industrial days and because it's overcome its issues with crime, drugs, and prostitution. So it's largely successful because of its ability to use existing resources and adapt them to the modern world. So as New York shifted away from being an industrial hub into like a commerce center, the meatpacking district followed. Although a little bit slower because, as Dante discussed, there were a lot of issues in the 90s as the things like the industry and everything like that made the district so vibrant suddenly became obsolete, so it struggled during that era. But essentially, as the train of gentrification rolled through, entrepreneurs, restaurateurs, small business owners started to realize that there was immense economic opportunity in turning the shells of old factories that had been abandoned into modern businesses and modern resources. So there's some great examples I've discussed, like the High Line. It's an old, ugly rail line that was turned into a beautiful park. The Chelsea Martin's old factory that was turned into a center that hosts multitudes of businesses. Another great example is the Google headquarters right here. A former Nabisco factory that was abandoned at one point is now turned into a $2.4 billion headquarters for a massive tech giant. So oddly enough, a very hip aesthetic has developed here almost unintentionally, as the older buildings, the older industrial architecture styles are still coming back into style, becoming very popular. And the meatpacking district had a lot of that lying around, so it's able to utilize that to kind of appeal to that new aesthetic. So there is some controversy with gentrification, especially in neighborhoods that are positive neighborhoods. A lot of people live there. But it's somewhere like the meatpacking district that became very burned out and is now being revitalized. Perhaps it's not such a bad thing.